Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. I am going to make some journaling cards. I've had a little idea and I want to try and put it to the test. I don't know how this will go, but we'll see. So I have here some book pages. I've taken 3 out of my book, and I'm not actually sure I want to use that one, so I'll just grab another one. As I said, I have no idea if this will work, and for this project I want to keep the borders of the paper on the page. I am going to just straighten up this edge, and you don't have to do this, but because my other edges are they're not very straight, because my other edges are straight, I'd prefer this one to be the same. So okay, and we are going to collage on these. So I've got here some brown paper, and I just want to I think I will cover the text, so I might use my ruler to tear. Not really sure how this will go. I don't even know what made me think of it. I've had a lot going on behind the scenes, prepping and printing for days on my new printer. I'm loving it so much. A big shout out to everybody that helped me with my decision making. It was something that I pondered over for quite some time before. This must have been packaging paper because it still has some sticky tape on it. You know how we like to recycle everything. Yes, I pondered over it for some time, and I am so glad I made the move. If you don't know, I purchased an Epson EcoTank printer. My printer was running fine, but I felt like I was forever running out of ink, and doing the journals that I'm doing and wanting to play with the amazing printables that are out there, it just didn't seem to be working for me anymore as far as affordability, and I just wasn't getting enough mileage for my money. I felt like I would do a relatively small print run, but nevertheless a print run, and I was having to run to the shops to purchase more ink. So, and nobody wants to be stopped from their crafting by having to run to the shops. Let's be fair. If I go to the shops to get stuff like that, it's usually a half a day out. So I just didn't want to have to keep going to the stores frequently. And it's turned out, so I'm just tearing my extra pieces of brown paper for the other cards that I have, and I should do it this way. So I'm just going to use the ones that I've torn already as my guide. Yes, having to go and get more ink was interfering with my ability to craft, and that definitely wasn't working for me. So, and I have done so much printing just recently, trying to get myself a nice collection of focal points and all sorts of wonderful things. Collage papers I've printed off. And I'm excited to have them there and ready to go when I need them. So it certainly wasn't a decision I came to on my own. I reached out and was given an awful lot of help and feedback when I started looking. So for everybody who offered support in any way, I truly appreciate it, because you made my decision making so much easier. And because there was nothing wrong with the printer I had, I was feeling a little bit of guilt for purchasing a new printer. It's like, you know, why fix it when it's not broken and all that sort of thing. So it kind of clarified for me, or helped to clarify, that perhaps I wasn't unjust in wanting to replace what I already have. So as you can see, I've got my brown paper here, and it is covering the text underneath. So I'm just going to get my ink book. Sorry, I've got bits, because I've been printing and fussy cutting and, oh gosh, all sorts of things that I've got in the process at the moment, ready for future videos. I've got things everywhere on my desk. I really need to have a clean up, and in actual fact, hubby is home today. He's had to duck out just now, which meant that I could quickly turn the video on, and I've run out of glue. My glue stick ran out, and I forgot. Yes, it's definitely run out. Just excuse me. Yes, hubby had to duck out for a little while, so I was like, oh, well, I can quickly pop the camera on while he's doing his jobs. And I actually haven't had lunch, which I probably should have done instead of turning the camera on, so we'll see if we can get this one done, and then perhaps I can go and have lunch. I was excited to be able to turn the camera on. I've missed you guys. He's had a few days at home and other things that have stopped me from being able to do what I wanted to do have meant I haven't had the camera on. It's been very, very bizarre, actually. So just grabbing my ink, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the reverse side of this paper. Really hope this works. As you can see, it kind of brings out the fact that I'm not the straightest cutter in the world, but anyway, never mind. Okay, so inked the reverse side of our paper, and I think I want some music paper, and I've got some collage sheet here. So this is just left over from a previous project, and I'm not sure this is what I want to use actually. Let me see. I've got here some of the tissue paper that we created in a previous video. This is the watercolor one. So I'm thinking I might have a little play with it. I'm just tearing the edge off. As you can see, I'm totally ad-libbing here. I've got an idea in mind, but the actual execution is a little bit higgledy-piggledy, so bear with me. At one stage I was saying I was blocked creatively, but I don't think that's the case. I think I have so many ideas running around in my head at the moment, and so many projects on the go to try and get to where I want to be for those projects, that I don't know why I'm putting my rubbish up there, that I'm not thinking through a whole process completely before. I don't know. I'm finding inspiration in the most bizarre places just recently, and there'll be more of that to come. Of course, inspiration is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. Okay, so already I've got glue on my fingers and the tissue paper is sticking to it, or the rice paper, sorry. Okay, so I've just got a ruler here. I don't know if I want to tear it with the ruler. Excuse me. And some music paper. I feel like I need a bigger sheet. And I did just notice that this side is lovely and busy, so how about that for a little bit of music? Should have torn my edges off before I tore into the paper. I'm finding so many different ideas to use paper edges for. I'm running out. Okay. I think I'd like to tear it down this way. And then I have these little images here, so my idea is to pop one of those in the center. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. I do want to try and ink this tissue paper. I really don't know how that's going to go. So I'm just, well, taking the ink quite well actually. I'm just going around it very lightly. And I might as well, while I have my hand on the applicator. And I don't need to ink around the edges. I do need to do this image. And the image is from ArtVintages. I have a little stash now in a box with lots of images from both ArtVintages and FarMirage. So I believe this one is from ArtVintages. I hope I haven't got that wrong. The links are in the description below for both shops. So okay. So I'm taking, did I have that over the top or the, I did have that underneath. That's what I thought. Okay, so popping my music paper down first. Oops. And then, excuse me. I didn't even make myself a cup of tea before I started crafting. I did think about it, I will admit, but every time I bring my cup of tea into my craft space with me, I get so busy creating that I forget about it. So, okay, I might turn that over and just burnish that down. Oh, I actually love the fact that that music paper is showing through that tissue paper that we created. How cool is that? Again, the tissue paper is the one that we did with the watercolours. And I feel like it needs a little bit of cheesecloth. Okay. Everything feels sticky at the moment. I don't know why. I think that's... oh, golly. Okay. Right. So before I glue that down, sorry, I'm going to fold my edges. So I've just realized here that my brown paper isn't covering the writing on the back of this page, so I'm going to fold it where that writing finishes, because I don't necessarily want the text to come through. And I feel like that wasn't very straight, but anyway. And then the same all the way around, I'm going to do this. And you could score it. This book that I'm using is quite fragile. In fact, I've made some pockets ready to decorate using this paper, book paper, and I tried scoring it and my score kept going through the paper, so I was like, perhaps that's not a good idea. Oh, now I have a song in my head. In case any of you know, Perhaps by Doris Day, I believe. That's what's in my head now. Okay, so then I'm looking at the fold line and I'm just folding my corners up. So I'm marrying my, I hope you can see okay, I'm matching my two crease lines to try and get my corner folded correctly. Again, this is something that popped into my head. I have no idea if this will work. This may never make it to YouTube because it could be a complete fail. Okay, so they're down, and then I'm thinking I should be able to fold my corners in, sorry, my edges in. I'm trying to find my words. This would probably be easier if I was gluing as I go, but I just want to make sure it's going to work before I glue. I believe we have some, not perfect, but some okay mitered edges. and we will glue those down and then add. Okay, we'll see how this goes, shall we? So I'm just using my glue stick and I'm doing my corners. My apologies if you can't see my glue book. I feel like it draws away the space in my table area if I have it too far across. I'm hoping these are going down okay. Oh well, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Trying something new. And this would probably be quicker if I wasn't a bit nervous about doing it. I don't know why I'm nervous. I don't know. It must be because the camera's on. Okay, I think we'll just add the glue all the way around. I actually don't mind a little bit of wrinkling in the paper. I was just thinking how it would bring that slightly vintage feel to my frame, which is effectively what we're creating, a frame. And my corner isn't quite perfect in there, but that's okay. It kind of looks good. I'm pretty happy with that considering it's the first time I've ever done it. Okay. And then I don't know if I want such a big piece of cheesecloth. Oh my goodness. Sticking to the glue stick on my fingers. I'm wondering if I really want that big an image, whether I want something smaller. I actually went looking for quite large images thinking that that's what I wanted, but I'm not so sure now. So these little ones are from ArtVintages as well. I just want to check the size. I need to ink. Always looks different when it's inked around the edges. Sort of draws the eye in, which I really like. I feel like that completed my frame actually. I like that down there. Maybe half that size. And perhaps a label. I have been watching Tracie Fox this morning. She has some amazing ideas, honestly. No. So these are Tracie Fox labels I have here. I think I want something. Oh, I kind of like that. Who knew? I don't usually like red, guys, as you know, but I really like that. I feel like it's missing something up there, so I'm just going to get my text stamp, I think, and add a little text. I've just got my stamp here. My ink, on the other hand, where did I put it? Here it is. And I don't want to get it on the frame, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful about how I go about this. I'm wishing I had done this first, but that's okay. Whoops, jolly cheesecloth is not my friend today. Maybe a little bit more. I did get it on the frame slightly, but not too bad considering. And I want some down here too. I didn't think I'd be able to see it so much down here. Okay, so next time I note a stamp before I put the framing on. And now that I've done that, I quite like this image here with this little label. I'm thinking, do I want to bring that up? I think about there. Okay. Glue. And I do need to quickly ink this because I'm just as likely to pop it down and forget that I haven't inked yet. And I'm just using the Helmar 450 quick dry adhesive. Okay. Out there. And my table. Done. And then on the back I'm just going to pop some writing papers for journaling, so don't need that now. Going to trim that just a little bit. And I do have some collage papers behind me. Just some scraps. Actually, I did. Where did that go? Okay. I'm feeling the colours are all very one-dimensional, so I need to do something about that. And that will do the trick. Okay. Sounds like something's falling down behind me. I think I came in a little close then. Whoops. I love the tea stain on this. So, I don't want a straight edge on this. Up there. I think I like it that way. So I do want to try and add a little bit of ink. And I can ink the bottom once I've added it to the page. So I'm looking at the text there so I know where to line it up. I think my page is starting to get tacky enough to go to the next one. almost forgot I was doing the bottom and not the top. And we'll end up with a nice sturdy journaling card because we've got papers at the front and the back, adding extra support to the paper, even though we only started with a single sheet of paper. Just trying to burnish that down without... Okay, and I have gone too far with my glue. See if I can tear that off, because that way I might not get too close to my book page again. No wonder my fingers get tacky. And then I want to ink this piece before I pop it down. I think I'll go that way. Okay. Oops. I really need to get some organisation about my space this afternoon. And then just a final ink around the edges. I haven't decided whether to pop some sort of topper or pull tag. I haven't decided where in the journal I'm going to use this yet, so depending on where I pop it will determine whether I use a tag or a, because I could use it in a side pocket, or I could pop it into just a pocket on the page, so that will determine where I pop some sort of tag onto it. But I really loved the way that came out, and I hope you enjoyed this too. I want to thank you all again for joining me while I did these. I will, as you know, I want to make a couple more, but I'll do the rest off camera, and perhaps I can show you at the end. Hello everybody, I'm back again. I have had a little play and I wanted to turn the camera back on to show you what I've done. So this is our original journaling card that we created together, and as I mentioned, the borders were a little bit uneven. You can see there the join isn't quite lining up, and that has to do with the width of our book paper. So I've had a play with another one. I thought I'd turn the camera back on to show you what I've done. So this is the second one that I've created, and I've managed to get the borders to line up. So if you prefer that look, it does give it a much cleaner look. And I know I said earlier that I didn't mind that they were messy, but I just thought I'd have a play, and I do prefer the borders lined up. I think it came up beautifully. So they're the two together. And I have another one here ready to go to my right, and I thought I would pop the camera on and we could do that together. So I've got all of these ready and inked up. So I'm just going to fold our pages up, and I have already inked on the reverse side, as you can see. And it was quite a simple process to get them to line up. So this book paper is really frail. That's better. Wasn't folding straight. So as you can see, they're quite uneven on both sides. So I'm going to just measure this one. So it's about 1.5 centimeters. Whoops. And I forgot this is in inches, so that doesn't help me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5/8 roughly. So I'm just unfolding this thicker side, turning it around. Oh, that doesn't work because I want to measure it from, glad I realised that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so about there. And that did shred my paper a little bit, but fortunately it's on the corner, so hopefully it won't make a difference. And then I'll need that again, so I'll just pop that to the side. So I'm just going to fold my corners over, again lining up the score or the fold line with the fold line on either side. That's not quite lining up. So I'm looking at the fold lines in the paper from either side here, and I'm lining up the fold lines on these corners to make sure that they match, which should give us a nice even fold. And I've decided after having a play off camera that I really need to slow down when I'm doing things on camera. I don't know why I feel like I need to rush when I'm on camera. I do feel like I'm slower than some, but I'm kind of thinking that's just part of my creative process, so I need to slow myself down because I'm rushing and I don't feel like I'm doing things to the degree that I'd like to. So I apologize for that, and I hopefully will correct that in the future. Okay, so now I've got those folded, I can go ahead and fold them in. I did mention earlier when I turned the camera on to make these, I hadn't actually trialed it, so the first one was definitely an experiment, which I'm happy to say came out. I'm very happy with the way it came out, so now I'm just kind of fine-tuning my process to get it to where I want it to be. Okay, so now we've folded that, we can see where we need the papers to line up. So all I did was grab my pencil and I just marked on my paper roughly where the corners will meet. And then I opened up that flap and I popped it into my guillotine. Just lining up those pencil marks and just taking those ends off. When I have very frail paper with this guillotine or paper trimmer, I find it easier if I take my little blade and I pierce the paper and then one way and then the other, rather than trying to push it against the edge. Just a handy little tip that I've come across myself. I don't know if anybody else does the same thing, but it seems to work for me. So, okay, and then they should line up. And I did have a little bit of overhang with the corner tab underneath, so all I did was take my scissors and just trim off a little piece of that tab so that it can't be seen from underneath. This one. Okay, so then I need to ink my edges because I've cut strips off. Where we inked on the reverse side to start with has no longer got ink on it because we've cut those strips off, so just inking those. And then I'm going to glue down my pieces here that I have. And I have some collage paper from ArtVintages. I hope I got that right. And the watercolor rice paper that we did in a previous video. I will try and link that in the description below. I have a printed doily from roxycreations, and I have these little mushrooms that I've fussy cut, which are from ArtVintages. I believe these labels were from artzology, and my little words here are from TreasureBooks. So I will try and link all of those people below, and that is essentially the same. The label, the words, the rice paper, the doily and the butterfly are all from the same places these are from. This little tag under here was cut from the paper pad that I'm using, and this little sewn paper strip was inspired by Tracie Fox of LoveJunk Journals. So, and I just want to line these up so I can get an idea of where I want them before I glue them down. Okay, so I need to come in about that far. So it's the same process as we did for the original tag, just gluing down my layers. So I may fast forward through this part of the video just so that you can see what I'm doing. So that's the card as it is. I will just go and do the collage back, and then I will turn the camera back on and show you the final results. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye. Hello again, everybody. I have finished off the journaling cards and I just wanted to give you a quick look at them. So we finished the 3. This is the first one that we did together. This was our experiment. I have added a little phrase to the top. The other 2 had phrases and I decided that this one was lacking something, so I've added that, and I feel like it finished this journaling card off. And then the back has our collage journaling papers so that you can write on them. And the second one that I did off camera with the more even borders and again with the journaling space on the back. And the last one that we've just finished on camera, and journaling space on the back of that also. So I really enjoyed this process. I hope you did too. Thank you so much for joining me while I experimented with this idea. It's been lots of fun and I'm really happy with the way they've turned out. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, like the video below, and please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos in the future. I'd love to see you there. Happy crafting, everybody. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.